Morning team, it's me, your favourite Jordan at the screen, and today I wish to talk to you about women who should be in prison, episode 3. And today I'd like to start this video by talking about how I'm a bit depressed, I suppose you can say. I'm a bit down in the dumps, I'm feeling a bit low, because when I started this list I knew I'd be collecting a lot of names, building a database, looking at the things they've done, generally just getting angry and upset at the miscarriages of justice. And I was prepared for this. But what I wasn't prepared for was how fucking quickly this would be accumulating, this list. The fact that I'm now already on episode 3 says quite a lot to me. And so, in some discussions I've had, I've been talking about my list to a few people. I've been recommended that perhaps I look into appealing some of these cases. And this is something I'm playing around with at the moment in my mind. I've looked into it a little bit. I know that you can make an appeal to the attorney's office, I believe, to get a Crown Court sentence appealed. Only one person has to do it. Only one complaint has to be made and it gets reviewed. And that only applies to Crown Courts, as far as I'm aware. And you have to do it in a 28-day time period after the sentence has been passed. So unfortunately, quite a fair few of the cases that I have already discussed in this series have gone past the deadline. But a few of them have not, such as some of these in the today's episode. And so I'm contemplating, investigating this line of thought, this potential thread, this certain path, this avenue, this direction I could take, possibly, reviewing, having these cases reviewed. I don't know how much paperwork there'll be, and there is I've looked on the government website, it's quite long, and there's a lot of information about it, and all the different ways you can appeal and review, and so it's probably not something I'm going to be doing anytime soon, but it is something I'm certainly interested in doing. Anyway, that being said, let us get started with today's list. And oh boy, some of these are very disturbing, let's say, very upsetting, these cases, such as this first one. Let's get straight into it. So the article came out the 8th of September 2017. This is the case of Charlotte Lee. The attempted murder of a child using poison, perverting the course of justice, and making a false allegation. Good, eh? And yeah, she did not get prison for this, but we'll go through it. So Charlotte Lee, 21, from Devon, did dose a 2-year-old boy's fizzy pop drink with enough morphine to kill an 11-stone man whilst the boy was staying in hospital. Now, yeah, average sort of like 15, 16, 17-year-old is probably 11 stone, maybe 18-year-old. Depends how early they had their growth spurt. I'm just under 13 stone. So, had I been given that morphine, I mean, look at me, I'm a bit of a tubby one, so if I lost the gut, maybe I might be nearer to 11 stone. But she gave that child enough morphine to certainly mess me up. And I've been on the old rocking horse a couple of times, so my tolerance levels are a bit up, but still, enough to put me to sleep. So, she'd given this medication to this young boy. The medical staff had actually informed her that the child was prohibited from consuming fluids. It was all part of his treatment. I don't know what he was in the hospital for. And yet, Charlotte still gave him these spiked drinks. I think a Lucozade and a fruit shoot. And she'd put the morphine in. But obviously, when shit went wrong, when it all hit the fan, she then decided to blame the boy's natural father. Because, as you fucking do. She got found out after a while. Because they did the investigation. She also lied to the police. She said to the police that it was the boy's natural father. And they found out because she had a box of morphine pills in her pocket that was supposed to be half full, but was entirely empty. That's how she got caught out. And the judge, this is good, you'll like this. The judge said he was able to suspend the sentence because she now admits what she did is remorseful and is receiving help. So despite the fact that she committed this crime, nearly killed a child, lied about it, all the way up until when she was essentially caught out and then goes, well, shit, you got me, sorry. So because she went, oh shit, you got me, sorry, that's why you're letting her off. What the fuck? So, what was her sentence? 2 years imprisonment, suspended for 2 years, which, as we know now, by now, it just means fuck all. Who cares it's suspended? That just basically means, you're not actually going to go to prison. Anyway, 2 year sentence, 2 years imprisonment, suspended for 2 years, and ordered to receive psychiatric counselling as part of 35 days of rehabilitation activities. That's right, you can try to poison a fucking child to death. She claimed, oh, was just trying to help him by giving him half a fucking bottle of morphine. But you can claim to be, oh, I'm sorry, I was meant to help him. And you get off for essentially nearly murdering a fucking child. 2 years old, that boy was. The judge was Recorder David Bartlett, a completely useless bastard, and the court was Exeter Crown Court. This is a case that, if I do figure out how to do the system and how to appeal correctly and get the cases reviewed, this is a case that I will want to have reviewed. The fact that this dumb bitch essentially nearly murdered a 2-year-old boy, lied about it every step of the way, and then only when she was essentially caught out, she goes, oops, sorry, you got me, whoops. And she's allowed to be, let go because she went, oops, sorry, you got me, whoops. That's just not fucking good enough in my books. It's bullshit. Fucking bullshit. And on to the next case. This is also another good case. Oh, they're all good cases though, aren't they? Let's be honest. And I say let's be honest because it's quite fitting for what's coming up next. So, this article came out again on the 8th of September 2017. Ella McDermott and Kaylee Atkinson. Assault, criminal damage, threatening behaviour, and possession of an offensive weapon. Ella McDermott, 25, and her girlfriend, Kaylee Atkinson, 22, from Padiham, Lancashire, did violently attack Ella's 52-year-old godmother, Juliet Robinson, and her boyfriend, Craig Hees, with a 3-foot baseball bat and a brick. Pushing them to the ground, stamping their heads through the brick at her. And in doing so, did cause damage to Miss Robinson's car to the tune of £576. Ella McDermott was the main attacker, whilst Kaylee Atkinson did encourage the attacks. Basically, these two bitches were going into the local Tesco and gave smutty looks to Miss Robinson and Craig Hees. They got a bit scared, said to the managers, look, can you make sure they're gone? When they finally got home, that was when they got set upon, because Ella and Kaylee went back to their house to wait for them, and then, threw the brick and, went to beat the shit out of them. Because apparently, Miss Robinson, the godmother, didn't quite approve of this relationship, and if they fucking act like this, can you blame her? And, now the godmother's been receiving help, because I think she's a bit stressed out, anxiety and all that shit. That sort of shit, fucks you up. It really doesn't bode well for your mental health. And so, what were the sentences for such a vicious crime? Well, the sentence for McDermott was 12 months imprisonment, suspended for 15 months, and to pay £500 compensation, which doesn't quite cover the fucking damage, but hey, okay. And the sentence for Atkinson was 8 months imprisonment, suspended for 15 months. That's right, you and your, girl, you can set yourself up upon someone, with a brick and a fucking baseball bat, and get away with it. Pretty much, no prison. Fuck, great. Yeah, why would you ever want to send a whammons to prison? What a fucking joke. And now, my next case. This one is beautiful, because we've had a lot of discussion in the news lately about domestic abuse, domestic violence, coercive control. Coercive control is a hot topic at the moment for the police and the CPS, and for, domestic abuse organisations, especially since the new act, well, I say new, came out in 2015, the Coercive Controlling Act came out in 2015, it's a big thing, it's a real big thing. Their tits set on fire if ever you mention coercive control and behaviour. So, with that in mind, let us discuss the case of Helen Tweedy. Now, the article for this came out on the 8th of September. Quite a few articles came out on the 8th, 2 days ago. So, yeah, sustained domestic violence, and I mean violence, and coercive and controlling behaviour, so domestic abuse. So Helen Tweedy, 45, from Stretford, Trafford, Greater Manchester, did repeatedly attack and harm her husband for 12 years. So, sustained is quite a key word. Including an assault on their wedding night in which she smothered him with a duvet and then forced him to sleep on the sofa. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't smothering someone with a duvet, I don't know, something akin to attempted murder? You know, if you're pushing down on someone, you know, with a blanket like that, you know. Can't imagine they have the best of intentions. Just saying. And she had a history, a notorious history, of drinking herself into a rage and attacking her husband. So she's a bit of an alcoholic. She also controlled her husband's finances. So there's the coercive controlling element especially. And they get real hot about finances. You know, especially when men do it. If he says, oh, no, you shouldn't be spending money on that, they do. I've heard some bad stories. Anyway, they finally had a child together, these two. And it was then that the husband decided he would install a security camera in the house, hidden, to, catch her in the act, because he was getting a bit worried that the attacks were getting a bit too heavy. And so he filmed her and her abuses over the period of 2 months, because he feared the police would not believe him. And he's not wrong to fear that. I've had many cases, not me personally, but people I've spoken with, where they have phoned up the cops saying, help, my wife's beating me up. And they go, your wife can't be beating you up, you're the husband, or, how heavy are you and how heavy is she, and just laughing and then hanging up. All the shit that the feminists whinge about that happened in the 70s to women regarding domestic abuse, it's happening now to men. But hey, who cares about men's? Anyway, he finally handed this in, because he was going to keep recording for a little while longer, but he was worried the attacks were getting a bit too vicious, a bit too much. And he was really beginning to worry. So he handed in the footage. And Mrs. Tweedy admitted to 3 charges of common assault by beating. 3 charges over 12 years. And now here comes the best part. But before I talk about the best part, I want to refer back to a few videos ago when I talked about the report, the domestic violence report from Women's Aid and the CAFCAS report. You might have read my article in the backbencher. You might have seen the video I went into. Now, you may recall in there them talk about coercive control, how the partner will continue controlling the victim even after the relationship, getting the victim to stand by them, that sort of shit. Well, listen to this. The worst thing of this case is he defended her actions afterwards. Saying it's not really her fault because of the drink. She didn't mean to do it. Imagine if the sexes were reversed. Imagine if the woman saying, oh, he didn't mean to beat me, it was my fault, I burnt dinner. Or he didn't mean to, knock my teeth out, I was nagging him. Or he didn't mean to, rape me or kick my head in because he was drunk, he wouldn't do it when sober. Do you think the courts would accept that? No, of course they fucking wouldn't. But when a dude says it, it's okay. And him saying that was actually taken into consideration in the case. Who gives a shit about all the domestic abuse training? Hey, you got to watch out for coercive and controlling behaviour. In fact, in family court cases, the partners aren't allowed to cross-examine one another because they argue that it's a form of coercive and controlling behaviour, that the abuser will use these family courts to keep enacting and exerting their abusive and controlling behaviours after the relationship is ended. But hey, when a woman does it to a man, hey, who cares? I mean, if he says she did nothing wrong, she did nothing wrong. Case closed. I mean, it's easy. And it's annoying that the justices of the peace accepted all that bullshit. But then again, they are justices of the peace, and just because a woman can say, sorry, I was drunk, means you can get off with it, like with Caroline Sumko in the previous episode. The date for that article is the 14th of March 2017, if you go through my list. She was the one who heard all that racist abuse and went, sorry, I was drunk, I didn't mean it, whoops. We all do that, don't we? Get a bit drunk, yell at all the brown people, just a usual thing. Apparently it's okay for all women. Anyway, so what was the sentence for this beautiful pillar of the community? A 12-month community order, 120 hours unpaid work, and a 12-month restraining order banning her from contacting her husband. And the judges were unknown justices of the peace because the magistrates' courts are shit. And guess where in the world, where in the UK, where in Manchester this happened? Yes, that's right, it was Manchester. Manchester, yet again, being utter shite. Manchester Magistrates' Court. Good on you, you bastards. Who cares? 12 years of fucking domestic abuse. Who gives a shit when it's happening to a bloke? Bullshit. Anyway, this next case now is a bit more controversial. Not necessarily in the sense of the severity, but there's a lot of discussion going on around this crime and how it should be dealt with. But I've still included it in the list anyway because of my personal opinions on it, and I'll go through that now. So, this article came out on the 4th of September 2017, and it involves Kirsty Gallagher. I don't know if I pronounced her name correctly, for driving whilst under the influence. She's the sports presenter. I don't know, as you can probably tell from my bad build, my horrendously slim and pot belly, and just my general nerdiness and dorkiness, gorminess, or whatever the fucking words are. I'm not much of a sports person, so I don't fucking know who she is. Anyway, Kirsty Gallagher, 41, from Virginia Water, Surrey, did drive her BMW X4, quite a nice car, while she was more than 3 times over the drink-drive limit. She was seen driving erratically before police tracked her down using CCTV. Here's where it gets good. She was on her way to meet her children to visit Windsor Castle on the 12th of August. So not only did her behaviour put at risk the lives of others, but it put at risk the lives of her children. What a great mother. And so now you might be asking, where the controversy is, where the issue is. Well, the issue is, she hadn't actually really been drinking immediately beforehand, because she'd been out the night before, getting on the old boozer, doing a bit of the old piss-up, and gone home, slept it off, and it was the next morning when she went to pick up her kids. So the reason I've added her to the list, some people are saying, oh no, it's difficult because she thought she'd sobered up, she was only hungover. And so I say, well, no, hangover is, you're still technically drunk. You're going through withdrawal, it's still in your system. And the fact that she was 3 times over, she must have drank a shitload the night before. Going out, got absolutely fucking trolleyed. She would have woken up, nearly over 3 times the drink drive limit. She must have been absolutely goddamn hanging. So how the fuck you can wake up in the morning and go, oh, my head. Oh, God, I can hardly get up. Oh, no bright lights, please. I'm going to go get in my BMW X4 and pick up my kids. The fuck? It's that kind of shit why I think, yeah, bitch should be behind bars. But no. The district judge, Davinder Lakhar, if I pronounced that correctly, said the charge was very serious and described the level of alcohol in her system as very high. So you might think, hey, he'll give her a good charge. No, of course he fucking didn't. He gave her a 2-year driving ban, 100 years, that'd be nice, 100 hours of unpaid community work, £85 court charges, and a separate surcharge of £85. District Judge Davinder Lakhar in Slough Magistrates Court. What a fucking joke, man. What a goddamn joke. And now, this is my final case. And this one is also incredibly infuriating. Not just because of the actual horrendous nature of the case, but also the fact that it's an historic case, which means I cannot submit it for review. Because it came out, well, the article was published on the 12th of April 2016, so I'm a bit of a while away. And this is the case of Gemma Keefe. I'm going to refer to her as Gemma Queef because, fuck the bitch. And her case is arson. So Gemma Queef, 29 of Fareham, Hampshire, this is where it gets good, did ignite her own home, which had her 3-year-old son and 2 friends of hers inside. At least from the article, it says her son was definitely in there. The wording implies the friends were in there also, but they seem to put more focus on the son. So I'm assuming the 2 friends were in there. If they weren't, then they weren't, but the 3-year-old son was definitely in there. Anyway, so she ignites his house, with the son and potentially 2 friends in there. And then she goes on to blame her estranged husband and his new partner for the attack. So really, it's arson and perverting the course of justice and false accusation. Here's another good part. Because, there was a death involved in this, a fatality. Not only the people inside of the house, no, because the stress of the accusation caused the new partner to suffer a miscarriage. So a child died because of this behaviour. What was her sentence? A 12-month community order with 12 months of supervision. That's right. You can try to burn your own fucking house down with your child inside, blame on somebody else to such a point that their new partner has a miscarriage, and you can escape jail. This is the system you have created. This is the system you support, that you're running. Is this what you want? I don't know why I'm yelling at the screen. Dumb bitch, don't do shit anyway. So yeah, this was Judge Roger Hetherington in the Portsmouth Crown Court. And it does really piss me off that I can't review that case. And was anything done for the estranged husband and the new partner? Any compensation, any support, anything? Nah. Fuck them. Who cares they lost a child? Who cares they were falsely accused of arson? Who cares that they were, ostracised by their community, treated like shit, harassed in the street? Fuck all that shit. Who cares? Who cares? It's all Whammons who did all this. We can't blame a Whammons for being a fucking psycho bitch and trying to burn her own fucking house down with her child inside. No, we can't blame her for that. She still has access to the child as well. I figured I should mention that lovely point. Yeah. I mean, I've known dads lose access to their kids over trumped up bullshit. And yet this woman tries to essentially kill her own child. Yeah, she can still see her kid. Fuck it. Who cares? See, if you need another reason for why our justice system is a goddamn joke, I mean, this case here just exemplifies it. And that's why I'm so fucking depressed. And, filled with anxiety and anger and all that sort of shit. Because these cases occur, shit like this happens, and then just let go. These perpetrators are just like, hey, don't worry about it. You're a Whammons. We respect Whammons. Go be free. It really pisses me off. But I'm just some, angsty bastard with a blog and a video camera and a couple of fancy lights. That's it. That's all I got. What am I in the face of the great British justice system? Oh well. Never mind. And that's it for the end of this video. This episode of Whammons Who Should Be in Prison. Catch you in the next one, which, at this rate will probably only be in a few days' time, maybe next week. God, I love life. I'm actually still looking forward to the Lavinia Woodward case. It's only the 10th now, and she's due to be sentenced on the 25th. So maybe in the next episode, or the episode after that, we'll be talking about why, she was able to stab her boyfriend in the leg with a fucking bread knife and throw a jam jar and a laptop at him, and, basically do that whilst all off her tits on cocaine, because she's a fucking psycho. But hey, they're going to let her go because, she's a Whammons, and we don't want to ruin her budding career as a surgeon or whatever it is. Because, someone who likes to hack and slash at people with bread knives should totally become a surgeon. Because that's not insane. But anyway, that's all for the future. Not yet happened. So yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Toodle pip.